All right, so we are getting started with our demos for the 2014 fall semester for UCOSP for the review board project. We had a great semester, a lot of really cool things were worked on, and really pleased with the stuff that got done. And some of our students are going to show off what they did this semester. We're going to start with Justin. So why don't you kick it off, Justin? Go for it.
So my major projects this semester were sandboxing the rest of the extensions. So off back end, data grid columns, hook, uh, meme time handler hook, the file attachment hook, the review UI hook, and then I made uh, 3 new extension hooks for admin widgets, web API capabilities, and hosting services. And other than that, I just cleaned up a few things in PEP 8 category.
Could you quickly describe what sandboxing means for anyone who might be watching this that doesn't know the term?
Yeah, sandboxing. So for sandboxing, I just went through all the different functions that you can add in through the extension hook. I made sure that if anything fails, that there's code to log an error, and then take care of the exception so that it doesn't break anything else in review board. So I worked a lot on the extensions module. So I made 2 right here, demo and showcase. Demos, some of the new extension hooks that I made, and showcase is the ones that I sandboxed. So I'm going to enable demo right here and bring into dashboard. And see at the bottom here, there's a new widget that I added. That was one of the hooks. Then I'm going to switch to showcase. And I'm going to make a review request, and I've set up a signal hook that's supposed to fail once I publish a review request. And that should end up in the logs. Yep, and there it is. Even shows you where it went wrong. And that's my demo.
That's awesome. I know that as one who has developed extensions before, like in the past, sometimes it's been hard to like figure out where something has gone wrong. So it sounds like this might make that much easier, and it might make it so that review board like stays on its feet if my extension does something like awful. It's not going to take review board down, which is a good feature, good behavior. Are there any other questions for Justin? Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Justin.
No problem.
All right. Moving right along then, I guess our next demo was from Barret. Barret, are you ready to?
Yep. Okay, so the first thing I worked on this semester was adding Exclude Files support to RB tools. So previously, if you wanted to include a file, you could, but you couldn't have, say, hidden config files you didn't want posted to review board in your diffs. So we can see, I'll just type rbtdiff in this, and we'll see we have 2 files. We have a new file.txt and an init.py. And if we have the X flag with, for example, a wildcard for .txt, the show up in the diff. And it works with rbt post as well. More, yeah. So that's the first thing I worked on. The second thing I worked on this semester was diff expansion. So if we open up just a review request on here, previously you couldn't get any context in a diff comment until you went to the diff viewer, but I ported that functionality into the diff comment, so when you hover over it, controls appear so that you can expand by either a fixed number of lines or up to a previous definition, like a function definition or a class definition, or you can just expand the whole thing at once. And it functions just like the diff viewer. And that's most of what I did this semester. That's demoable.
That is very cool. Thank you so much, Barret. The diff expansion is pretty important. Like, getting the context surrounding code is like very important during a review, and like reducing the number of steps to get that context is great. I'm very happy about that.
It's also one of those features where now I'm like, how would we live without that?
Yes. How did we live without that? Awesome. So thank you very much. I'm going to switch over to Ryan now. Ryan Dunn. Ryan, are you ready to roll?
Yep. Is my mic on? There we go. Okay.
Yes, your mic is on.
So for my first big project was an alphabetic paginator, I guess we called it. So previously, when you were looking at large data grids and review board, specifically for the user list, you'd just get something like this with a bunch of numbers off, to some very large number like 77. For sort of a chronological order of review requests, this is fine, but if you were, say, looking for usernames that started with S, this is very cumbersome. So this is in my own demo environment. It doesn't look too hot zoomed in. We'll leave it like that. I change it so it's alphabetized now, and then you can index by number into each letter. So when I select, say, E here, scroll down, you can see now we've started with usernames E, and I can go to like the third page of the E names. Again, I can go to P, same thing. And internally within each sort of like selected letter here, the controls are basically the same as they would be for a normal numeric pagination. Yeah, that was my first project. Is there any questions there, or do you want to save those to the end?
Let's save those to the end. Why don't you keep going?
Okay. And so for my second project, which is almost done, I did a diff slider for file attachments. Zoom in here too. So previously, I think there was on the back end an implemented file attachment history for whenever you updated a file attachment in your review request, but screenshots or text output or something, but nothing was really being done with it. So now the slider here works very similar to the kind of code diff slider. Right now I'm looking at the most recent version of the file here. This is Markdown, so I can see both. And if, say, I want to compare the second or third one, I drag them, it changes the URL argument. So if I go back to show you again, now we're looking at only 15. And now this is, say, 13 to 15. And you get a left and right comparison of the Markdown or the source. Clicking on the labels does a similar thing. I can click on a single label, and it just selects that single file. And the sort of title functionality is exactly the same as the code diffs as well. I can see what's changed between 2 and 3. There. Yeah. This also works for text files, of course. If I do a text file here, text files, and images are pretty cool as well. Can pick an image, this and this, and it loads all the sort of image diffing functionality that was already there. So this is 2 up. You can do a difference, split, and then slide back and forth, and onion skin. Yeah. So that was most of my work for the semester, other than a couple bug fixes. But any questions?
That's very cool. the image diffing stuff, that was work that kind of already existed, but I
Yeah.
guess wasn't really exposed a lot, was it?
Well, I think it was in if you had image attachments in your main code diff in a review request, I think. Maybe someone wants to correct me on that, but I don't think that came up very often.
It actually technically works, but you have to actually fiddle with the database because there's no interface or API currently to set it up.
Okay. Yeah.
That's very cool. We can finally like expose this stuff. It's awesome. Like just the ability to kind of have revisions of these attachments is very, very handy because yeah, you're right. I mean, it was cumbersome before having to like add new ones and just delete the old ones. It kind of felt like banging rocks together. So this is awesome.
The sort of I guess irony of it is I was mostly working on sort of interface features for the semester, and a lot of the time it would have been a nice way to document how the interface kind of was updated and changed with a little widget or whatever over the semester. I know I spent an afternoon with Mike changing the color on a widget or on the paginator and changing the borders and stuff, so it could have all been documented in a single slider. But now it's
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely, and that like here that's kind of like the nice thing about feeding your experience of working on Review Board back into Review Board to make Review Board a better tool. It's this nice sort of cyclical snake eating its own tail thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions for Ryan or anything like that? Okay, awesome. So next up, we've got Dkus, David Kus with his demo. So Dkus, why don't you share your screen and take it away?
All right. So my project for this semester was to add drag and drop functionality for images in the text editors. So basically, you drag a file onto the text editor, and it inserts a link to that file and uploads the file. So this is what that looks like. Go to edit your text editor, drag in a file, you get some drop overlays. They highlight depending on which one you're about to drop the file on. You drop the file, it inserts the link, uploads the file. Okay, and then there it is. And this also works if you're reviewing and you want to add comments to an image or add comments to code. Just get your comment box to appear here, drag the file, upload. And you can see we still have the overlay for attaching files to the review request as well. So you can still attach files to a review request by dropping them there. That's pretty much it.
That is both awesome and adorable. Those dogs are looking good. This is really exciting. This is a thing that I think we've needed for a while because it's a little bit cumbersome to attach a screenshot and go through the dialogues to upload a thing. Even if like all you want to do is just like show somebody like I don't know, you've applied their patch and something's just a little bit off and you can just drop it into a comment. I think that's really, really useful and you've really lowered the barrier to that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Are there any questions for David about his project or anything you worked on this semester? All right, I think that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, so that was a great semester. Fantastic work from all of our students. Really, really happy. And yeah, there'll be another batch of demos in another semester. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody. Bye.